Okay, now it's recording.
Hello, and welcome to Critical Tumblr, where a bunch of longtime friends and nerdy-ass Tumblr users transcend geography through the power of Skype to play Dungeons & Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Unfortunately, Antheus, who plays Froseth, our Dragonborn monk, cannot be with us today, but he is with us in spirit, so everyone say a silent prayer of sympathy, because he's going to watch this later, and the poor man's going to be bummed at what he missed. Previously, the group known as the Cupcake Coterie were in the little town of Goldendale in the process of preparing for a renewed assault on Star Coast, the small city to the southwest that was taken by an evil force beyond the ken of most everyone, but, according to snippets, who's tapping on the microphone?
That might be the
It might be me, because I was turning it down. Sorry.
Right, okay. There goes my groove. All right. Anyway, evil force beyond the ken to most everyone, but according to snippets of remembered lore and lyric, is a force best described as tainted god. Their mission, to somehow cleanse the town, or at least rescue the few survivors before the food and potable water runs out. The preparations went well. Hazel, the half-elf cleric, and Nora, the human paladin, both of the sun god Pelor, went to the local shrine to meet Lyra, the local cleric of Pelor. Froseth came along for the ride. He made friends with Lyra's small flock of rescue fairy dragons, while Nora took the Oath of the Ancients as a reconsecration, which she needed after her brush with effectively pure evil. Lyra managed to bless Hazel and Nora's amulets of Pelor to allow them safe passage through the fog around Star Coast, and explained that their companions needed to find suitably meaningful talismans for her to bless. Meanwhile, Clarity the tiefling rogue and Darvin the human bard went to run some errands, selling some gems they had liberated from Star Coast and looking for any useful items for their mission. After a few purchases, including a fortuitously coincidental purchase by Darvin of a locket that would serve as a talisman, they went back to Jenna, the local blacksmith, to see about weapons. Darvin came away with a beautiful rapier, though he got yelled at by Nora later for accepting the beggaringly low price Jenna asked for the weapon.
Which I recall was 15 gold.
Mm-hmm. And I'm keeping that thing away from both of you until later.
You remember when I said to the two of you about, can we keep the OOC commentary down a little bit? At least let me finish, okay? After a discussion about party finances, they went to watch Clarity as she participated in the pie-eating contest the Hearthhearts run every year, and tied for second. After that, and the declaration of the Hearthhearts that the Cupcake Coterie was officially family now, the Cupcake Coterie left a few purchases and a lot of gold with the Hearthhearts, along with Froseth as a sort of guard, as the Hearthhearts wend their way home from market, which leaves most of the Cupcake Coterie to their various celebrations at Goldendale's single tavern, the Golden Bough.
Oh, nice.
Not one I made, but I couldn't figure out anything that worked out better.
Uh-huh.
So yes, the Gilded Bough is Goldendale's one tavern. It's moderately sized, given that it has to serve not only the people who live and work within the town, but the farming communities all alongside. You can tell when you walk in that it doesn't normally get quite the amount of business that it's getting right now. It's prepared for it because they knew that, Market Faire days are the days when everyone is coming through the doors. But you can see there's this 13-year-old boy sort of running around with with a flagon, filling people's things up, that he's been hired for the day. They don't normally need the extra stuff. The man behind the bar is sort of late 50s, still reasonably fit for his age. He probably does a bit of his own field work. He looks up as you four enter, looks at Hazel, and you can almost see him reminding himself, she's not too young to be here. Let's just let it go. But you can tell that he's a little bit concerned.
I'm just gonna hide behind Nora, and I'm gonna stay back there for now.
Not for very long, you're not. I'm headed to the bar, and I'm gonna have some ale, if I might.
Okay, the barman does say, well, because market day and all, we've got a selection of 3. There's that what I brew. Nice enough, you know. We've got, wait a minute, squints at you for a minute. Bailey. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Hi.
I know your parents.
You do?
Your mum used to come through.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Some of the ale I got is from theirs. Your brother, he and I, we trade back and forth now and then.
You know, I'm trying to think if you've mentioned your name at all, and I'm not really sure, but it's been a crazy couple of weeks. You know what? I'll actually some of what you brew, though, because I can get home stuff whenever I visit.
There is the third. This one points behind Nora to Hazel. This one's mum's. Her sort of brother-ish thing. He came by with some such that I'd asked for from the southern countries. So there's that as well. Figured to get in something exotic because the clientele, and he's pointing at in this table back here, most of the bards have settled. You can actually see the bronze-skinned Dragonborn. He's actually sitting closer to the fire about here. He's watching you guys, and he looks like he might be just ever so slightly disappointed. A little worried, maybe. But hard to tell without insight check. Anyway, he's going, yeah, so I got in a couple of casks of this Southern Land stuff and some of their wine, and I'll make it back, believe me.
You know what? I'll have some of what you brew and some of the Southern Land stuff eventually, but let's start with the Southern Land stuff first, and my second mug will be your stuff.
All right, and he pours that out. The Southern Land stuff is 5 coppers. Mine is 3. Your family splits down the middle at 4.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Import charges. What can you do? Sets the mug down. Looks over at. It starts with Darvin. He's clearly still kind of blanking on Hazel being, servable. And you, sir?
Yours is fine.
He gives Darvin this look that's kind of insulted. But he pours the ale. I mean, come on. What would Nora's father say if somebody went, yeah, yours is fine, whatever.
I'm just staring at Darvin and gonna scoop my mug a little further down the bar.
He sets the.
I don't even notice. I'm still thinking about the sword. I'm too distracted. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just like, yeah, no. I don't particularly care. I don't know.
That's even worse.
I just drink from whatever. That's the attitude anyway.
He's looking at Darvin like Nora might or might not be getting the impression that if Darvin doesn't make right somewhere along the line, there's going to be some nasty bodily fluids in his food.
I'll pull him aside in a minute and talk to him about it. But for now, let's all finish whatever we might be doing.
Turns to clarity. And bonus to being in a town with the hearth in it, your appearance doesn't faze him at all.
Great. I'll have the local brew. It sounds wonderful. Thank you.
He smiles. Darvin is probably still too distracted at this point to notice it. I we hope you find it to your liking. Actually, when Nora takes a sip, this does taste a little bit familiar. Name may have slipped her mind because it would have only been mentioned in passing, but the taste of a good ale and the smell of it does kick off memory. Yeah, she's had this before.
Cool.
And then,
Well,
and then finally looks at Hazel.
I'll take a local. Please. I am terrible at the words. Please don't make me try to say what I think it's like because it's probably awesome, but I don't know how to say enough awesome.
The bourbon sort of looks at Hazel for a moment, chuckles, ruffles her hair. It's not that bad, Les. I'm just not used to actually asking whether you want alcohol. Your parents, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And pours Hazel a mug of the local. We've got options for food. They're up on the chalkboard, and he goes off to serve somebody else while you make up your mind. What you've got is sort of a roast mutton, some kind of vegetable stew. Apparently, you've got vegetarians here for some reason, and cheese leek and bacon pie. Clarity probably doesn't ever want to look at pie again at this point.
Clarity doesn't want to have anything. She's still like, oh, okay.
Well, no. To be fair, the weight is off her stomach now. It's just, and the ginger fizzy thing did help settle her stomach. And in fact, she probably is kind of hungry just because everything that was in her stomach is no longer there.
Vacated.
But the vegetable stew is probably going to be the best option for a tender tummy.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it wait for a little while. And
Yeah.
then...
Well, you've got time. The man behind the bar is fairly busy.
Mm-hmm.
Hazel's going to just pat Clarity on the back, then grab Darvin and like sort of shake him. Darvin, you the thing.
Darvin,
You
if you
just
don't say
acted like an
something very,
actual noble for a second there.
if you don't say something
now?
very if you don't say something very complimentary about that ale when he comes back, I can't guarantee your food won't be spitting.
Okay.
Say
I say
something
this to you as a
complimentary,
tavern keeper's
or shaking.
daughter.
Like,
All right.
Hazel's outright shaking Darvin now.
Good thing I left the mug on the bar then.
I would take a drink of it and fawn all over it when he comes back, because what you essentially did was tell him that his stuff was suitable, you guessed. That would be like saying your music was passable, maybe.
Hazel's just...
You're on your own at this point, so I'm going to kind of turn my back toward the group a little bit. Take a sip of mine.
Sorry.
And can I go
I'll
ahead and
take care
do,
of it.
can I go ahead and do an insight check for the Dragonborn at the table?
Yes.
Where's insight? Nope, got nothing.
No, he's and you can tell it's probably maybe a little bit more than, I was kind of hoping to talk to another Dragonborn at some point. But on the other hand, basically you're looking at Dragon Face and they're not very expressive. You've known one Dragonborn in your entire life, and you just sent him back with the Hearth Hearts.
Oops.
Oh, well.
Hazel will have finally let go of Darvin and stopped shaking him, and then finally looked at the Dragonborn. I'm also going to make an insight check.
Okay.
First critical tumble, here we go.
6 and a 6.
You're
perception. Oh, sorry.
Hazel is fairly sure that the Dragonborn actually overheard Darvin and may be planning to eat him at some stage.
Whoops. Jeez, you made me drop my
Reaches and
mouse.
sort of vaguely swats at Darvin now.
Can I make a general perception?
I'm trying to
for the room
drink here.
Yes.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
I'm gonna see if there's anybody I recognize from earlier. Anybody standing out in some sort of, I don't know, different way. I think is what I'm looking for right now.
Different how?
I don't know. Or I don't know what I want. Anything unusually noteworthy from a standpoint of attention getting? Might be somebody we need to talk to. Might be somebody watching us. That kind of thing. Is that specific enough, or still too broad?
I can probably do something with it.
Okay. Hey, better, much better.
Yeah. The Heseltine is notable only in that he's not actually looking your way. In fact, he's actually sitting in a corner and sulking.
He got mom. He got mom.
Literally sulking.
I'm gonna kind of elbow Clarity and kind of, vaguely gesture in Heseltine's direction.
Clarity chuckles a little bit.
There is an elder gnome gentleman. He's got a few scars that Nora will probably find relatively familiar from having met her parents, some of her parents' friends passing through. This is some kind of adventure war vet kind of individual. Probably not connected with the Hearth Hearts, or else they would have pointed you guys at him. But in that situation, the look from the look on Torin is very much, I think that there are things that need to be said to these people, but the one that I was actually going to talk to isn't there, so now I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I'm gonna motion to the bartender now that I've looked down the menu choices.
He looks at he looks at you for a minute while he's trying to deal with other customers and just gives you this glare and goes back to his actual day-to-day customers. And yes, you guys are watching.
Swat.
I am steadfastly, intentionally ignoring. I like my food with nobody else's spit in it. That's
And Hazel's still swatting you.
I have plans. Chill.
You are doing more stupid than I do.
I'm letting him know that when he got it has a second. I know what I want to eat. What?
Facepalm.
you wait for them to come back. You don't signal them like a servant.
If he doesn't do something to you, I will!
The barman comes back and he does in fact ignore Darvin entirely and turns to Nora. Everything to your liking, huh?
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you. I've never tasted anything quite like it. It's amazing. I'm not going to want to eat yet, but soon. Do you want me to tell you now, or do you want me to wait until I'm a little more ready?
It'll take a little while to get everything ready, so if you know what you'd like.
Can I have the cheese bacon pie, please?
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
That's not something that I've learned from your parents, but I understand it's sort of a local specialty over there, so
Yeah.
hopefully we do it somewhat justice.
I have no doubt you will.
Turns to Clarity.
Just the vegetable stew for me, thank you.
Yes, it does tend to be a bit easy on the stomach.
Did the blueberry on my shirt give me away?
When someone leaves a pie eating contest that quickly, it's fairly easy to figure out what's going on.
Thank you.
Ms. Harthart?
Same as Clarity.
Right. And then he walks away.
Glug, 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 glug.
Well,
You've managed to charm everyone in this town.
apparently. And I actually had a line prepared, but oh well. I was going to make up for my mistake, but oh well.
Hazel is now trying to inhale about half of her mug.
How about you slow down? And you, when I look at Darvin, you just stop talking.
Okay.
You're making things worse. I never would have thought a day a bard made things worse by speaking.
I'm not going to be able to breathe.
Given the perception, it might be worthwhile for Nora. I'd say Hazel, but she's not the best with words. But Nora knows the difference between how you behave in country taverns and how you behave in small city taverns. And he is behaving like you would in a big city tavern.
Look, I understand that you probably have not been among us common folk very often. But the thing you have to remember is it may be busy, but it's meant to be friendly. It's meant to be close. You are complimentary. This is personal. He puts his heart and soul into this ale, into this food, into this place. You have to return in kind.
Sorry, I'm used to places where you go in and, yeah, it's not like that, so.
Well, this is. So
well, apparently I'm not
stop
getting anything
thinking
else,
like
so
a
we're good.
Darvin, stop thinking like a noble and start thinking like a broken bard. Like a broke bard, rather, because you keep saying you are, so start acting it. There is a vast difference, I promise you.
I've been broke in the country.
Yes, but the thing is, if Darvin's been broke in the country, he will probably not have gone completely hungry either, even on his bad days. And now he's. It may be that his getting into the College of Lore has gone to his head a little bit.
Just.
In any case, the barman is still watching Nora for a signal that they're ready for food, but he does have a word with his little 13-year-old temporary staff who comes up to Nora and goes, I'm to ask if Sir Snooty Britches wants anything.
I think Sir Snooty Britches might. Would you like for me to ask him, or would you like to handle it?
No, from what I can tell, he probably doesn't want to speak to us common folk.
I promise he's a lot nicer than that. He's just had a very interesting day. Darvin, would you like to apologize to any of the staff?
I meant no offense. And honestly, if the mutton is as good as the ale is, I'm in for a treat because this is some good stuff. And I apologize for if I did cause offense. It wasn't intentional. But yes, of the choices, the mutton would be most preferred.
Make me a persuasion check.
Okay.
You wonderful, wonderful.
Preparing to botch. My luck.
Whoa!
Oh.
Great.
Maybe
Wow.
not.
Okay.
Maybe not.
The kid looks a little bit dubious, probably because he's not 100% sure what half those words meant. This is a simple country town.
Again.
In fact, the Hearth Hearts are probably the best educated of the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
The barman, on the other hand, Nora will probably notice where the others don't. That something about the set of his shoulders does kind of relax, although she can see that Darvin's still on notice. But there's that little bit of leeway that's being extended now.
I think that was a good first step, Darvin. Keep it up.
Noted.
The kid then just says, when you're ready for food, just let us know.
Well, thank you. I know I'm not quite hungry yet, but is anyone else? I can sit here with mine. It's fine.
How many hours has it been since the sandwiches?
About 3, 4.
It's like noon to 4, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's more sort of 1:30 to about 6.
Okay.
I mean, no rush, because obviously, you're busy as heck, and that's totally awesome. But soonish, if
I
possible.
think if you went ahead and asked for the food to be started, that would be amazing
Well,
and
no,
much appreciated.
you see, it's already made. We've
Oh,
had to make,
I see. I'm sorry. I
we had to
misunderstood.
make it in. We just wanted to know what you wanted so that we know that we'd have enough.
Oh, thank you. I'm so
Thank you
sorry.
so
I
much.
misunderstood what the barman told me. At least for clarity's sake, yeah, let's go ahead and have our food brought out if that's all right.
And he gives a little nod, and then it turns, looks at Hazel, bops her on the shoulder. That's for when you were 12.
Hazel is now going to attempt to inhale the other half of her mug.
Nora, we sent her. Did we send her hammer back, or is that?
No, it's all your weapons are in the bag of holding.
Yeah, that.
Okay, well,
No,
as long
but
as she
I
doesn't have
have
it in
that. It's
hand,
okay.
we're okay.
No, it's in the bag, and I think I have her hammer.
Okay.
She has her staff.
Okay.
It's all right.
I just
No,
remember the last
we
time this one
learn.
had a drink in one hand, and
We learn.
yeah, okay. So do I. Thank you, Nora. By the way.
The barman who does introduce himself to Nora as, my name is Benson, by the way, and this is Eric. And points at the 13-year-old, and and turns around to Hazel. Just to let you know, he did finally get his wooden knight back. There was an accident. It went down the well.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Well, that is quite the feat indeed to get it back.
Oh, but you haul up enough buckets of water, wood floats. Yeah.
This is true.
Gonna happen eventually, but she was. In her defense, she was playing, a heroic cleric and letting Eric join in, and she got a little bit carried away and decided that this horse was now flying on the fiery wings of Palor, and she thought she could clear the well, and not so much.
Hazel, you get carried away? That never happens.
Can I get another one? Holds up now
No.
empty mug.
Not yet.
Maybe
you
not
can't. Slow down.
just yet.
Not yet.
Get a bit of food in your first lass, and sets down not huge individual pies, but the size of an average quiche in front of Nora and Hazel. It's seems to be a sort of a goat cheese with leek and a couple of those herbs that you're pretty sure came out the Hearts herb garden and window boxes, just to tart it up a little bit. Clarity gets sort of a bread bowl of a vegetable stew. It doesn't smell quite on the same spice end, but there's there's a little bit of something light and peppery that's not actually pepper, which we would all refer to as either coriander or cilantro, depending on which part of the country, part of the world we're living in. And Darvin gets a couple of slices of what appears to be a breast of mutton rolled with some sort of stuffing in the middle, with a couple of roast potatoes and some veggies, mainly peas and carrots, and a little gravy boat.
It all smells divine and looks amazing.
I'm looking at this, just going, this is actually a lot more involved than I thought. Wow. Yay. Wow. Awesome. Thank you.
Benson sort of looks at him and going, yeah, country fare doesn't have to be just a big old pot of stew, you know. But he's smiling as he says it, and he walks off to... he's actually walking towards the bard's table, waiter style, very large platter of the cheese pies seem to be quite popular at the moment.
They're good. That's why.
Hazel holds up the empty mug and goes, "Glory to food!" Clunk.
She didn't order anything, did she?
No,
She ordered food. She
No.
she has what I have. She's got the bacon and cheese pie.
Oh, I thought she got
No.
stew.
Nope.
Or the
Nope.
stew.
Does she eat the stew?
No,
Okay.
Hazel had what Nora was having.
I said clarity, but
Oh,
Nora
never mind.
is
Okay.
fine.
Nora's what you meant.
No.
No, the problem tends to be that people do wind up kind of talking over each other, and particularly since you can't see me, you can't really tell. Anyway, food happens.
Yeah, she did get food. She got something.
Food is good. Food happens. Although, on the other hand, I wouldn't put it past Benson to give Hazel something that would soak up the ale better. On the guise of, sorry about that, we are terribly, terribly busy, but you did always like the cheese pies. Off it goes. Of course, it helps that Hazel. Of course, it also helps that Hazel knows that while the idea for the pies was largely from somewhere else, never quite got the details on that. The about half the ingredients come from the Hearthheart farm.
Yeah, Hazel's enjoying the hell out of this.
Okay.
Glorious day, if embarrassing as hell, but
Ending well. Ending well.
but ends well with good food and hopefully more ale.
Not yet. Slow down. I don't need you drunk all over everything. That would be really bad.
So now that I'm
Hey,
now that I'm not quite so distracted, I'll kind of look around at the bard's table, probably noting the sulking form. I can't remember now if I was witness to the speaking about him to what is it?
You were definitely there. You were mid sandwich munch, and you were the one saying that while you didn't hear the conversation, you saw it, and
Right.
so yes.
He was
So
pushing his
I
luck.
would understand the sulk is what I was trying to figure out.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So making note of that, but then also noting the Dragonborn.
Yes, of
As
course.
somebody else that-
Clarity is the only one who actually knows this guy's name, or anything about him at all.
Like, I'll turn to Clarity and be like, so apparently the conversation with Heselton there was had.
Yes, it would appear so.
Poor guy.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I almost. I mean,
he
God,
has been squished.
Yeah, I almost kind of feel bad.
Well, I didn't mean for her to berate him, but you know, it's a little amusing.
You
Well,
brought
From
it
what I
up.
from what I'm led to understand of what happened between him and you, Clarity, from what I just overheard from Darvin, be amused.
Yeah, he was laying it on a little thick, but
He
you
came
know.
on strong.
You didn't
Well,
want
that's
him
his own
berated.
doing.
Never tell mom and mama. They squish people.
Also,
I mentioned it in passing that I didn't exactly want to talk to him, but
but keep in mind that while the others don't know this, Clarity, you did have the conversation with Miranda, and she might have drawn some conclusions about when you said, you know, people like us don't normally have families.
that
You
is
say this to a lesbian.
yes.
Oh,
Quite what I meant.
You hadn't put that together before out of character, Ethan? Really?
Nope.
Really, Ethan?
Nope.
But yes, it's none of the rest of you will in character get this,
No.
but
In
this,
character, it's not there, but out of character.
it might click with Clarity. And Miranda was the one to really get involved and was really looking like she was looking forward to. Whether or not it's the case, it's pretty clear that Miranda wanted him very well apprised of the possibility. Just for your out-of-character amusement, the phrase, you are not any of the gods' gift to all women, stop acting like it, may have come up.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall.
Okay.
Well,
So-
Mr. College of Lore, is there
Mhm.
anyone you'd rather go sit with than us? Because didn't they need to see you tonight?
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna, I wouldn't put it like that, but I mean, yes, they did want to speak to me. I don't know what exactly about, but I mean, this is kind of a new thing, so I probably need to find out like what it entails.
I would think you do.
So, I mean,
You needed to talk to them too, didn't you, Nora, about the that sword that
oh,
the
I-
Half-elves mentioned?
I did.
And the
but
stuff in general that was in that town. Ugh.
well, yeah.
I did, but I figured let Darvin have his moment and then maybe use that connection as a foot in the door.
Well, I
Right.
mean,
Been my assumption.
On the other hand, you do know that the Bronze Stripe Scale Dragonborn is still watching you with sort of, do I say it? Do I not?
well, I
on
mean,
his face.
it kind of looks like one of them.
Well, no, Nora notices this because she made the perception check.
Oh, my bad.
You've been too
I
busy
didn't do
trying
very well, but I made it.
Right.
No, the perception,
perception,
you were
that's right.
fine. The insight wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Darvin was too busy trying to dig himself out of a hole.
I managed.
You did. I was just saying you're too busy to actually notice.
Right.
But
Well, then I'm going to go take my deer and kind of walk over to where the Dragonborn is sitting and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Nora Bailey. I've seen you around today.
my name is Torin. It's a pleasure to meet you. If you'd like to take a seat, I know sometimes standing at the bars while eating can be a bit uncomfortable. Although, admittedly, that's more for people my height. Because of course, his meal would be way down there. Because 6.5 feet tall, you know.
I'll admit that I'm a little used to standing at bars and eating, but thank you. I would like to take a seat, so I'm going to slide in. Is it across or next where there's room? There's a cross.
He's sort of there, so next to him would involve trying to get through this table of carousing bards.
I had assumed
So-
it was across from, but I didn't want to assume incorrectly. I'm gonna
across is probably better.
slide into that bench across from him and kind of, just sit down. So I take it you're from not here.
Very much not. No. If I may make so bold as to ask, as we're fishing for information at the moment, your Dragonborn friend, he's well, yes?
Yes, he is. He just decided to go back with Miranda,
Mhm.
and Twilly. I'm terrible at names. With Miranda and Twilly and the kids in case. I'm not sure why. Just in case.
Well,
Right.
there was a fair bit of bartering going on. I imagine there were valuables to be guarded,
Yeah.
and even with retired individuals of the strength of will of the matriarchs of that one's family, I suppose it's always best to have a third.
Not a bad plan by any means. I didn't know you knew about Miranda and Twilly's past.
I watch. I saw
I
the
gathered as
reaction.
much.
I saw the reactions to the ballad that young Heseltine played after your friend succeeded his audition. Not hard to make connections if you've sung that one as often as I have.
Well, that's fair enough. I'll admit I'd heard it quite often, but hadn't made the connections myself. But we can't all be so gifted.
I've just seen a terrible lot of people who are more used to wearing weapons than they let on.
I understand that observation as well. So, what brings you here? Is it just the Market Faire? Are you at the College of Lore?
Um, you seem to have a misconception about how the college works. We do have places of study, but most of us aren't as regimented exactly. We'll find market fairs or libraries. Libraries both love us and hate us, by the way, because we go in and the only way we truly know to exchange information is tales and tunes. So while the market fairs and the taverns, they're quite fond of us, we don't go over quite so well in libraries. But mostly we're solitary. We go, we explore, we adventure. We usually attach ourselves to a traveling party. Young Darvin Taylor with a Y over there seems to have beaten that to. Seems to have got that out of the way before he even knew we existed. Interesting, but it's not as regimented as Heseltine makes it sound. He's only recently earned himself a place, as it were, and he's a little bit puffed up about it.
Oh, I just assumed that's how he was all the time.
Well, that as well, but a little bit less so today. To be honest, I'm kind of glad of the quiet.
I can't say I quite fault you for that.
We traveled here in each other's company from Belarus. I won't be traveling back the same way, but I do understand that the Star Coast is no longer a viable port.
And where would you have heard that? I don't recall hearing anything about that myself.
There's at least 3 families here who are wondering where the people they sent with cartloads to sell in the Star Coast market have gone.
Fair enough. It is not a viable port any longer. It is a pretty fair description. Would you be alright if I asked my friends to come join us over here, or would you prefer that it just be the 2 of us for now?
For something like this, I believe this inn has the occasional private room. It'll be quieter, if nothing else. It flips her a gold coin. If you could ask the barman for rental of one of those, I think it might be just for the rest of the evening.
I can handle that. Thank you. And I will take it and go post back up at the bar and just kind of wait.
And
for Benson to make his way back over.
Benson was, dealing with a couple of the, couple of the more transient individuals, and he hurries that along. You've clearly been accepted as, you at least have clearly been accepted as local. You fit into that category right now. So
Cool.
he notices you come back up. He sees that you're intent on something. So he gets through as much of it as he can on his own quickly, hands the rest off to young Eric, and steps over to you. How can I help?
Hello, Benson. I think I'm ready to try a second mug at this point of the local stuff, and also my Dragonborn friend there has asked if it would be possible to rent a private room for the evening, and I kind of slide the gold coin across the bar.
He looks at it, looks at the Dragonborn, who just sort of gives a little nod, takes it, and goes, "Well, that's covering your drinks for the rest of the night. Dinner is available." And sticks it in a little box he's got under the bar, because mostly he's dealing in silvers and copper, so this represents a lot. Let's see how many of you there. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the Dragonborn's fairly large. Okay, we'll want you to be comfortable. We'll take the bigger one on the right, which would be that one there.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And so I'm going to kind of
He hands you a key, little iron
thank
key, because obviously they don't want people just sort of barging in, particularly
Right.
not on days like this.
I think the four of us need to retire to that room back there to the right, guys. So
Can I get
grab
another
her-
mug first?
Can you get her a short mug, Benson?
So it takes the generally slides. Comes back with something that's more along the lines of coffee mug-ish sort of stuff.
A low ball mug. Oh my god.
Low-ball tankard, yeah. Fills that. Thinks about it for a minute. Holds up a finger. Fills a flagon. Something that's got a good 4 or 5 mugs worth, and hands you guys that, as well as topping up your mugs, just sort of going so that you don't have to keep coming back. I mean, obviously do if the flagon runs out, but it's to save you some bother.
At this point, don't worry. I'll come back for some of my parents' stuff too. I'll be all over your bar. It's fine.
He's still offering that up on the basis that you're probably, if you're having what seems to be serious conversations with this Dragonborn that's just paid well above the odds for a rented private room, you're probably not going to want to keep going up and down and potentially miss things. So he's still.
Thank you, Benson. So, all right, the four of us need to retire to that room back there. I'll meet you there.
Okay.
Just trust me, please. Just trust me.
Benson, that you can just bring your plates. There's a table in there.
Hazel scoops up all of her stuff and just starts across the tavern.
Mine's long gone. I inhaled mine because it was so good. I was like, when it's really, really good, I eat it insanely fast. So yeah.
And I'm gonna kind of clap
actually-
Darvin on the back of the shoulder.
Eric actually looks at Darvin and goes, "But how do you taste it? If it goes down so fast, it doesn't hit your taste buds."
It did. It did. That's the whole point. It was so good. I wanted to shove more of it in there.
That sounds fake, but okay. We have sticky toffee pudding for dessert.
Maybe later. Thank you.
Definitely later. All right, I'm gonna go over and tell Torin.
Oh,
Which
he's
room
he's already up.
Okay,
He's seen where people have pointed. He's obviously perceptive as shit. This guy.
All right. Well,
So yet again, you are for relatively average-sized humanoids and a Dragonborn.
Like
We're rocking a
home.
consistent theme. Sorry.
So yeah, this is the room that you guys are in. So you've got your table, and Torin, basically to keep out of everybody's way, takes that seat in the corner there. It's clearly I'm probably going to have to be doing an awful lot of talking now, so I will take the seat that lets everybody see me easier.
I'll take the one by the door.
I'll take the one in the corner.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right there. Yeah.
And Clarity there.
Yep.
Hazel over there.
Okay.
And I guess that puts me.
That works.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, Torin basically leans his chair back as far into the corner as he can without his tail getting in the way. Sets his mug down on the hearth and says, "All right, Star Coast, let me see if I can take a guess as to at least part of what happened there. Some hideous black substance that smells like unnatural honey was in some way involved."
I'd say that's a pretty good guess.
It's spreading. Bollocks.
What?
Meat?
There was something I wanted to ask your Dragonborn friend because it fit in with some stories I've been tracing since I passed hatchling stage. That's the whole reason that I joined the College of Law in the first place. The whole reason I'm wandering around this interesting continent. I wanted to know how he survived.
How
He
who
must have.
survived?
Your silver friend.
How he survived the Star Coast or how he survived something else?
Something very much else. He would have been an infant, as far as I can tell from the stories.
He said he was in a he was raised in a monastery up in Cragveer, so maybe
That's all we know.
the fact that he was over there instead of wherever the thing that happened was.
I'm trying to think, but see, I would have preferred had he been here because this is speaking of his clan.
I don't think he even knows who his clan is. I could be wrong, but I got the impression he was raised from infancy at the monastery.
That would make sense. Someone must have got out with him. He would have barely been hatched when that happened. That to say, to explain about the Dragonborn, because clearly if he doesn't know, there would have been no one to tell you. There's sort of, I prefer not to think of it as a classist sort of thing, but it almost is. The ones whose scales come more in the colors of the metallic dragons proper, the silvers, the bronzes, the brass, the gold, they have their own clans. Sometimes people leave, they intermarry, and there's more a reddish bronze sort of. Some people call them low bloods. It's why I don't spend much time with my clan anymore. But the point is that our clans are small. We're few. Even the mixed bloods are rare. about 16 years ago, something to that effect. I mean, we pass messages. We don't spend much time communicating with the more humanoids because they look at us and they see dragons. And it frightens them, and we don't like to frighten them. So most of the time we just say, we're over here learning things. And if you would like to come and learn with us and learn from us and let us learn from you, then that's fine. And that means that the people who aren't going to judge generally come. About 16 years ago, we received messages from the only clan of Silver Dragonborn we know about. Far, far to the north. Past the dwarven city of Hammer Hollow. They said that they'd received visitors of a sort. They'd found a couple of humans trying to reach them, but they'd been stranded in a snowstorm. The Silvers took them in, nursed them back to health. The humans seemed grateful, pleasant. When they were resupplied, they said they'd come back with more things that they could share. The last message that we got was that they came back with an army that they didn't think could be natural. They didn't know very much about how other races do things, but they couldn't imagine, from what little we can derive from the messages, they couldn't imagine anything like that. And then the messages stopped coming. I was just ready to go out into the world at that point. And I was curious, and I went, at least as far as the settlement, what was left of it. It had been razed to the ground. And everyone within it was dead. I tried to push on further, but there were dangers in the way. The forces had moved on, but not very far. They were still there, and from what little I could see, they were digging. What they seemed to be unearthing was the source of this sludge. I couldn't do anything about it on my own, and I left. I did find... He reaches into a belt pouch and pulls out... It's a small square of obsidian, well, rectangle of obsidian, really, on a piece of rawhide. Clearly to be worn as a necklace by someone with a reasonably sized neck. There's silver inlay on the obsidian, and it's in characters that none of you guys can actually read. He shows it to them and says, "Your friend's name? Froseth?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I found this. Whoever took him away must have dropped it. Hands it to Nora. This belongs to him.
Thank you.
He'll probably want words with me. I may have to extend my stay a little, but...
Yeah, I could say he's probably going to want to. I think he's very guarded about about being dragon. I mean, he can't hide that he's a dragonborn, but he doesn't seem to want to talk about it much. And I don't know if that's from lack of understanding or lack of care. I don't know, but
I imagine it's more the former. You said monastery. I think I know the one, but there wasn't anyone by that name. It wouldn't surprise me though. I've met occasional dragonborn that were raised more in and amongst humans. They were given more human names. It would appear that the monks were at least aware enough of his dragonborn name to let him take it out into the world with him. I didn't want to pry. The last thing I wanted to do was barge into a human-dominant monastery with occasional dwarven input and dump this on him. But he's out in the world now, and he seems to have fallen into this.
that's a word for it.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of fell into it ourselves. All of us did.
It happens. At least you had each other. I couldn't do anything with what I saw. I was alone.
We haven't been able to do anything yet either.
Hey,
was-
we
We're
got
gonna.
We did
evidently
do
so.
that, but we haven't been able to do anything to stop it or to
How long ago did you find it?
2 days.
math. 2 days.
3, actually, because you
All
were a
right.
day and a
I was
half travel.
close. I was close. 3 days.
16 years. You've done more in just under a week than I've done in 16 years. But then again, combat is not my strong suit. All I have is information. And even that, not very much of it.
Is there anything else you know about the people who the Silver Dragonborns took in, about what you saw? I mean, with anything else you can think of.
I don't know how common this is for humans. I understand that some places are more derogatory about genders than others. One of them was a woman.
Do you know what she happened to look like?
She mostly went hooded. I can tell you that she was incredibly magically gifted.
Well, so at least
was-
that's been consistent.
Did she sound sarcastic? Or have you heard her speak?
I don't know if you...
I said yes.
She sounded impatient.
That sounds accurate.
And then she sounded triumphant.
I'm gonna find a way to put a hammer in her skull.
Me first. She's wearing a face that looks like mine. I think I'm allowed to take that personally, even though she's not taking my face. No, whatever.
You're gonna have I'm betting you're gonna have a sword by then. I'll stick to the hammer.
Looks over at Nora. Are you having something made?
I don't know yet. I was actually hoping to talk to someone involved with the College of Lore, and Miranda and Twilly told me about something I should ask about. Pelor's beacon. I don't know anything else. My assumption is it's a sword based on some other things I've heard, but that's all I know.
It's a sword, as far as I've been able to tell. It is more than definitely a sword. It's not really my tale, on the other hand. I seem to be the more, I'm more based around strangeness, effectively, so it would seem. Thanks to that particular story I've just half told you, it's
So are we at this point, if it's any consolation at all, Torin, so are we.
yes, well, at the very least, you're not you're not expected to tell all the creepy stories all the time.
Not yet.
It puts people, well, you don't make a living at it. This one might get this one might get in any case, you'll want to speak to Zook.
Zook. All right, thank you.
He's the scarred gnome I saw you looking at. So I don't know what you would consider important, and questions sometimes jog the memory. I am going to go and get a something a little bit stronger. As far as I can understand, the gentleman here brews a rather nice vodka. Cinnamon, I think.
You know what? I'm gonna come with you and buy a round for all of us.
Thank you.
I think we all need it.
I think I've paid enough for all of our drinks. I'll bring some back. And
Thank you.
while I'm there, you can discuss what sorts of questions you might need to ask, because I don't know what you would consider important. And I don't know what sort of story you, points to Darwin, have to tell. So, you didn't expect this. I didn't either. But I'm one person and I answer to no one but myself. You're a group. You need to decide what you can tell me. The cinnamon vodka?
Please.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get if I'm gonna get into this, I'm gonna need one.
Yep. None for me, thanks.
He gives Nora a look when Hazel.
One. She can have one.
And he nods. And hey, yeah.
Attempts to inhale mug.
It's a coffee mug size, so you can inhale
Good
it
luck.
fairly easily. No, you can inhale it really easily. It's just not as
Potent. Yeah.
it's not as satisfying somehow as draining a tankard. In any case, Torin leaves the room, and this would be a good time to take our 5-minute break because we're about at the halfway mark, not counting some of the technical issues thing. But that means that during the 5 minutes, you guys can think about what you'd want to bring to your group conversation about how you want to go into this and what you want to ask and in what order, etc. And then you can come back and have that conversation and finish up from there.
Cool.
And we're back. Currently, we are at the point where Torin has just left the room in search of cinnamon vodka and possibly sticky toffee pudding. You never know. And leaving Clarity, Hazel, Nora, and Darvin to discuss what they are or are not going to say, ask, do, because that was a fairly big lump of information, and Nora still has this pendant with Froseth's name on it in her hand to demonstrate just how heavy this is.
My first question I've already asked, it was trying to figure out if the same people were behind it when it all started, but
Yeah, now we have two places we've got to clear out.
uh,
Now that we know that
there's
this doesn't end with Star Coast.
well,
We at least
and
can kind of, sort of, maybe follow it to its source.
why the Dragonborns? Why was it location? Was it them? Are these things we need to
Sounds
ask?
like location. They were digging for something.
And the, I
Maybe
mean,
that
were
thing was
the
only
Dragonborns
there.
connected, or were they just they just happened to be there?
Exactly. That's what I'm. That.
Gotcha. Honestly, after meeting Froseth, I would be surprised if they were actually connected. It may very well have been just a case of they just happened to be there.
Either way, we now have
That
another
is-
thing to put a stop to.
Wait a minute. If it's being dug up and dug out, does that mean it's natural and not alchemical?
If it's... Remember the legends about various gods and the things they could do? If it's a piece of a god, who knows where it might have ended up, how it got there, and who cares? We're gonna go there, we're gonna burn it.
Okay, easy there, Burninator. You have to
Hey.
know what you're dealing with so you know how to destroy it.
Yeah, but
Something
Paler's light
alchemical.
affects this stuff. We walk in the sunlight, and the sun burns all evil.
Are you forgetting that everything at Star Coast was still going on during the day?
Not my point.
The word Hazel is looking for is metaphorical.
Yeah, she completely misses that word. She's just now all grousy. And going to refill her tiny mug.
Sit.
Well, no, you've actually got the flagon, remember?
That's
Yeah,
probably, that's what
eventually-
the sit was. It's
That-
right there, numbnuts.
Yeah, no need to get up. Sit.
I was going to get a grip into his...
You are all of 100 pounds soaking wet. You don't need a ton, especially with how you get around ale anyway. Sit.
No. You know how I am with words. Why are you lecturing me?
I'm sorry.
This is a lot.
I feel a little... It's a lot, and I feel a little helpless, and I seem to be the only one feeling like I have any questions, and I know mine aren't good, but they're all I have, and nobody else is suggesting anything yet.
I did
What? Oh, well...
a few. Sorry. You're not the. I'm just trying to say you're not the only one. Look, you're not the one that has to basically sit here and possibly tell this guy that you killed your own mother, or at least couldn't do anything to prevent it.
We could leave
wasn't-
that out if you want to.
Oh, Darvin.
Well, it's kind of the whole reason we were there in the first fucking place was me. So I can't.
Still wasn't.
I can't. Well, yeah. Sorry.
You didn't hold your own... You didn't hold her hostage. Wait. That may be important to mention even when we don't mention your mother. Mentioning that all the nobles were being held hostage might be important.
So why did they need
It's
the
my
people?
vote.
Exactly.
They didn't need the people. They needed the bloodline.
Exactly. Why? So I think that's important to
Well,
mention. Or ask about.
I was gonna get to that, but yeah. I mean, maybe that's just the way this stuff works. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe they get other. You saw what the guard. That was a guard, right?
Yeah.
It was a guard.
Yeah.
Well, you saw
Been.
what just
Used
your
to be.
average rigmarole, schmuck guard did. What supposedly noble blood, so as special or whatever.
And here's
What
the
are they going to
elephant
get
in
when
the
they do one of them?
Well, and here's the elephant in the room that none of us have talked about or even really cared to directly address. They wanted all the nobles for a reason, and every noble in that room died except for you.
Well,
And I'm not saying we have to mention that to
we
Torin.
don't know they died.
Well, you're right. I'm sorry. But
Given what that stuff, what the fog does to people,
what I will say is
I would
something
prefer them be
happened.
dead.
Something happened to every noble in that room except for you, and we already know this thing traveled once.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was carried.
And you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted the bloodline.
Well,
the more we learn, the less sense this makes.
Point of order.
gods never make any sense.
Out of character, quick question. The Baron of Star Coast, was he related through the nobility to any of the other nobles there? Is it just nobles period? Was it just all the nobles, or was it a particular line? Because I don't remember.
Okay, give me a history roll.
Okay. I didn't know if that would qualify needing one or not.
Well, given Darvin tried to avoid most of that.
Right.
Because remember, his father didn't specifically want him in the nobility, which is kind of weird if he thinks about it, because of his whole big thing about marrying into nobility.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted Darvin sort of nobility adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
The bits of the nobility that none of the nobles look at their entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
They get a servant to pay them, and they're in the background. They're nice sounding wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than going somewhere where there are no nobles. No one's gonna look at you. No one will notice you when you're there unless you fuck up, and no one will notice when you're gone. But no, he doesn't really know how the various bloodlines work. All he knows is that some people place a great deal of emphasis on noble blood where there isn't necessarily noble blood. I mean, on the one hand, you had the guard who turned into Thing. On the other hand, you had Mira and what she turned into and how, and the methodology for that wasn't the same. Make me a straight intelligence check.
Everybody or just Darvin?
Just Darvin, because he's the one who's ticking this over.
Does Jack of all trades work for this?
No.
Okay. Didn't think so.
Not safe, babe.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. Thank you.
Yep.
That's two for the evening.
You know what? Yeah, okay. No.
Not good!
Okay, yeah. Okay. Right.
Oh God, no, not that noise. No.
I'm thinking. As far as Darvin can tell, there is some great significance to a specific bloodline that he doesn't know anything about because his bloody father never actually told him anything. I was trying to decide whether I should go with the 16 that he technically rolled up there or not, and then I thought that's not really fair, so...
It's also not really accurate.
Okay, so things that are important to ask or to share. Does Torin know if the Dragonborn were directly involved or just happened to be the only people close to wherever it was needed. I think we should mention the nobility being held hostage in Star Coast.
And
I don't think we need to necessarily tell him you're one of them.
I would prefer not, yes. I mean, that was the whole point of dear old dad keeping me away from all of that, which was weird because he wanted to be part of it himself. So why he wanted me not part of it, I still don't really know. But that's, I guess, a question
Maybe
for another
he
day.
maybe he found out after he already became part of it and decided.
Well, I mean, he was kidnapped, so I mean, but at the same time, so he knew then. But I mean, everywhere along, he's been trying to keep me out of it. So I don't know.
And Darvin
Maybe
was
he
born
was
before all this
getting-
happened.
Remember,
16 years ago.
there you go.
Wait,
Probably saw
So-
the
Darvin
Russell.
can't be that much older.
No, but he's not 16, but he's still before this started.
No, he's still before Star Coast started.
not
that you
before
know
everything,
about.
but
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything that you can think to ask, tell, share?
This is sort of piggybacking off of the Dragonborn question, but if it's the location that is important, then why Star Coast? If there is something that they needed 16 years ago, or something that had to do with where Froseth's clan was, and they just happened to be there, then why did they go to Star Coast? And then why now?
16 years after the fact, why so long between?
Right. Why wait? If they had a plan, then why wait? If they raised the entire village of Dragonborn in an attempt to do something, then why wait another 16 years? We haven't heard anything about anything else.
Maybe they didn't have the whole plan. They knew this.
Hey.
They found out about the stuff. They needed the stuff. Then they get the stuff. Well, then they have to figure out what to do with the stuff. Maybe they didn't quite have that thought out yet.
Hey,
Star Coast is a shipping town. All the stuff was
That's a good point.
in the basement. Maybe they were going to ship it elsewhere.
Mhm.
Also, digging.
That's quick out of character question.
Mm.
I realized I had assumed raised RAZED earlier, but the way Lindira phrased it made me wonder if I was assuming wrong and it was RAISED,
Nope.
like zombies.
Nope.
Is it RAZED?
Yes.
Like fire? All right,
Yes.
thank you.
But
Latin.
it as an adjunct to that though, Hazel mentioned this stuff was in the cellars, and the ones in the mountains around Cragvere were digging. Maybe there's more than one wellspring for this shit, and that I give you as an apology for the whole intelligence safe thing.
Okay, then what, Hazel, since you're the one who's pointing it out, why don't you bring it up in character?
Well, and that is, I mean, that follows our train of thought that we've been going on anyway. I mean, if we find out
Yes.
that it's not, that it wasn't the Dragonborn, if we find out that it was just the location, well, is this then the next obvious question is that the only location?
And then there's also maybe he's heard rumors of which of what god or what thing is involved in all this,
Or at least
if it's any of the ones we even know.
Yeah. If this thing is this tainted and fallen this far, would we even? But it's worth asking.
At this point, there's a tap, 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 tap on the door.
Well, Nora, you said you were going to be by the door,
Yeah,
so-
I'll stand up and kind of crack it open.
It's Torin, and
Open it up.
He has
Yeah.
come with shots of cinnamon vodka and sticky toffee pudding. I have heard legends in the making of Mr. Taylor with a wise producer's appetite.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think those are
yeah.
fair. I think
Um,
he'll admit that.
Clarity has a small shot of the cinnamon vodka and a mug of ginger-smelling tea. We didn't want to leave you out.
Oh, thank you.
Eyes, they do
Settles.
things to people.
Only if you devour that many of them in that short period of time. We have
Hazel.
also heard legends of your nearly closing down the contest when you were 8 years old.
I think it was 8.
You did, however, best clarity.
Yes.
Perception check from Hazel, Nora, Darvin.
Oh, because out of character, I know what's going on. Hang on.
Checking.
No, Nora. It slipped past Nora, just because she's too busy trying to order everything in her head because she knows she's going to be the one who's stuck telling this. Darvin and Hazel then suddenly realize Clarity never mentioned her name.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
you
I
two
know.
still haven't even met the dude properly.
Wait a second.
How did... Oh, Hazelton?
Clarity!
Heseltine
Hazelton, excuse me.
for one thing. But no, call him Heselton to his face. It will be amusing. There was. I have been watching. You do realize I didn't want to. I honestly didn't want to approach. I was trying to see if I could determine why young Furseth, how he had survived without having to ask. It's not an easy thing to tell people.
Yeah.
And then when I saw he wasn't with you,
Nothing nefarious about that.
Fortune favors the bold.
yes, but on the other hand, the looks in Darvin's direction, fortune also favors the polite. As do barmen.
Some of
I
us,
apologize.
unfortunately, were not
I
blessed with such
apologize.
noble manners.
I apologize.
When you look like I do, manners are very important.
I understand that.
Hazel
Yes, I
grabbed the
imagine
flagon,
you do.
refilled her mug.
Little mug.
Make me a constitution save.
Oh God!
This is the third mug in like 20 minutes.
And then it had the big one to start with. Yeah, Hazel's weaving a little bit now.
I'm gonna slide the flagon away from her. Actually, no. Darvin's closer. Darvin, will you slide that?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll.
Thank you.
And all you really notice is the ale is going away.
This is
Oh, give it back.
At
in a
which
few.
point, Torin helps
No.
by drawing the cinnamon vodka away from her as well.
I'm gonna top my mug back up as long as it's sitting here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I still haven't even finished my first one yet. It's
Yeah,
good.
I'm
don't
still
get me
sort of
wrong.
nursing mine. Still
you
a
have
tender
stomach,
tummy.
You have stomach
Yeah.
set tea, so
Don't get me wrong. This is very, very good, but at the same time, I have a lot on my mind.
I
I think we all have.
imagine.
Right. So, who wants to ask questions first?
What did the
No, you should.
Yeah.
Should somebody get that one some?
Water.
I think they have some coffee or strong tea.
Let's start with
Lesser
perhaps-
restoration spell.
I think she's the only one who knows that one.
At which point he gets up out of his chair, leans into Hazel's face. Lesser
Yeah.
restoration now!
Slides out of her seat.
And onto the floor.
Yeah, dex saving throw. With disadvantage. You are drunk. And falls on the floor.
Ooh.
You
This is
know-
why we got you the short mug.
You know lesser restoration. Use it. This is important.
She's finally been jump scared enough to use it. I'm just gonna plonk it in as this spell card format thing.
Yes, we're looking at drunk as a condition.
Yeah. So she's going to grab a hold of the amulet she's still wearing and mumble a prayer that
Probably
sounds.
mumble an apology to Paylor for getting this drunk in the first place when it's this important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
mostly just I'm sorry.
and sobers up.
This is why we got you the short mug.
You literally, oh my god. You literally, okay.
Torin goes back to his seat, sits down, with
Thank you, Torin.
shifts his tail out of the way, folds his palms, looks at Hazel. Are you ready to be serious now?
Yes.
Good, because otherwise I am going to suggest you people find a cleric who can. So, Star Coast.
Do you want the whole story or just the questions we have for you first?
The story belongs to Mr. Taylor with a Y. He's a bard. It had better be a song at some point. That's how we exchange information. That's what you owe us for access to ours,
Yeah.
giving us yours.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You'll hear the stories and you'll hear the songs, but you'll need one of us to tell you how much is true, how much has been embellished over different tellings and picked up by minstrels with half our expertise, if that. So the questions will suffice, but if you could give me an overview, because at least 3 people from this town have gone missing. And I'd honestly like to know if I would survive going anywhere near it to investigate.
Oh,
No, do not go in there.
It's going to require us being protected in order to do so ourselves, and we fully intend to. I was going to leave this behind, but the reason why it hasn't been made into a song yet, my mother was there. So it's a little personal, still.
You're going to have to get over that.
Oh, I'm going to.
It's been 3 days, though.
Unfortunately,
I don't have time.
you've gone... Callie, your mouth is moving. No sound.
no, I know. I was yelling at my kids while I was
Oh,
listening to you
okay.
guys. I had it muted. Yelling
Okay.
at
Just making sure.
my- No, sorry.
just-
Thanks.
Yes. Unfortunately, when it's something like this, you don't necessarily have the luxury of mourning. So you have 2 options. You can deny people the information because there are at least 3 families
Oh, no,
who
I'm
are
not.
trying to who are trying to convince other family members or people who might be going in that general direction to go and find out what is happening. If they got lost on the road, if they were attacked by bandits.
Right.
So you can either mourn and let more people die, or you can tell the story and release your mourning through that.
I was just
Those
gonna
are
leave
your
that
options now.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was just saying I was going to leave the fact that she was there out. But
It has been 3 days, and
exactly. That said, when we went back, there was evidence of this had already apparently been going on for quite some time, months at least, if not longer. People were disappearing. People were being disappeared. Apparently, they were being experimented on. Come to find out, Francine. End result, we confronted the Baron. We confronted this woman. I used the term woman loosely because who knows if she's even human or whatever.
she has a raised brow ridge from Torin.
She appeared human. Let's put it that way. And when you said she was magically inclined, yeah, she threw off hideous laughter like it was nothing. I mean, that's not a huge deal, but
At your level, no, but still.
it was worth a shot.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'd be disappointed if you hadn't tried.
But we had some help. Evan's mother. You might have seen Evan. He was the little gnome boy.
Believe me, I saw. He's a little difficult to miss. Unless he wants to be.
True. Well, his mother, she was helped us get into the Baron house, and she was changed as well. Then when we disposed of the thing that she had been turned into, that's when the mist started. Her companion Petunia gave up her life to literally hold back the mist. In addition, there's Francine, old family friend.
I'm aware of Francine.
Well,
Bard.
she's safe
For now.
That's good.
So so this stuff, they may be moving it, they may be transporting it other places. The questions that we had were things like the Dragonborn. Did they have anything to do with this, or did they just happen to be there?
Well, not
The
quite
look-
that way. The Dragonborn.
The look he gives Darvin.
I'm assuming that they had nothing to do with it. I'm assuming that
You're back on no talking duty.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
You're
I
back
didn't
on
mean
no
it like
talking
that.
duty.
I only give this reaction because reactions like that, but meant a different way, just by looking at us, is the main reason that more warning can't happen. Particularly not for your friend. If this became more fully known with even a question that they could have been involved, they would do horrible things to your friend.
Right. I'm not assuming. I'm just assuming that they just happened to be there because from the information that we have, that there were runes and ancient runes involved at one point. There was.
There is
Old
a
gods
great
involved.
I think the better way to phrase the question is, were the Dragonborn innocent victims in the wrong place at the wrong time, or were they chosen specifically because of some skill or some attachment? Not that they did anything wrong, but that they were specific tools who were needed for who and what they were.
Which she said.
That I don't believe that a bard is taking lessons from You're not a cleric. You're a paladin.
Guilty.
Well, she's also the daughter of a tavern owner.
My parents own a tavern not far from here. I grew up with a lot of different people coming in.
You're. He looks at you. He knows. He knows what only Clarity knows so far. It has pretty much been decided that no one who can talk as well as she can be raised by anything but a bard.
Yeah.
A lot of what we were when there were more of us has gone by the wayside, but the metallic dragons have always been good symbols of protection and wisdom and all those kinds of things. And I mean, the worshippers of Bahamut, the great golden dragon god, that carries some weight with us, as you can imagine. But we lost a great deal as our numbers dwindled. We're not cross-fertile with a lot of races, not the way elves and orcs are. But part of what I've been hunting for these last 16 years is why those Dragonborn, why couldn't they have just gone around them? It would have been too close and they would have died or worse if they hadn't, but there is evidence to suggest that once a very, very long time ago, beyond the records that we have, the quote-unquote pure-blooded Dragonborn were set in these various places with some others races to protect, to keep people like that woman from digging up places they shouldn't.
So it was location, but it wasn't.
The reason, I mean, there were two reasons that you would find a clan of silver Dragonborn that far up in the mountains.
The Dragonborn were there because of the location to safeguard, and that was what she was after, whatever they were guarding.
Once, but there is no evidence that that was anything but legend for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have proof it might not be now, though.
Yes, but that doesn't help them.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is
So
that as I've been doing research, part of the reason I'm in this part of the world is, I mean, it's not Dragonborn, but Starcoast. There's a halfling community nearby, isn't there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not play coy. I know that one of them now lives here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a common country housewife by any means.
No. As you and I have discussed, no.
She left, and I don't imagine that she knew any more than the Silver Dragonborn might have known. But she went into the business that she went into rather quickly. Very easily. Unless somebody's clandestinely training you, how easily do you survive? I don't think the Dragonborn are alone.
No.
It would make sense
Seeming not.
It would make sense to Nora, because she's been having the questions about, that reaction seems a little bit extreme, kicking her out of the family just because maybe someone knew and just hadn't got around to telling her yet. I've been trying to trace these clans, see what they know. I'd imagine that this particular offshoot, beyond what your cleric has seen so far, don't know anything. But part of the reason I was going to be heading down in that general direction was to try to find the halfling community, which I don't know if it's in the town or not.
If it's in the town, Miranda's all that's left.
Yeah.
The
Her sister.
what happened?
Well,
What
that's
happened
the
when
thing.
that thing died? The smoke took over the whole town, and our silver dragonborn friend Froseth managed to commune with the water and told us that it's covering the entire town except for one tavern, that people are walking into the ocean and
Coming back
walking
out.
back out.
Different,
Yeah.
to put it mildly.
The only reason I suggest it might still be a possibility, and it seems like I may be handing the reins of this part of the investigation over to you, is that the Dragonborn were not camped directly on top of
Okay.
the thing they were meant to defend.
That makes sense.
Possibly, maybe.
Well, I mean, if it's this bad, I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't want to be actually on it, but I mean.
Well, and you want to stop someone before they get to it, and if you're right on top of it, it's too late.
Right. That too. However, I also do want to flag up locations, plural.
I just remembered something.
So there's more of these things.
What?
The book. Remember the book?
Oh, the book.
Oh, right.
The one that almost killed me.
Mm.
Yeah, that one.
And who was
Guarding that book.
guarding
Your aunt.
it?
Your aunt.
Oh no.
Well, then
You
that
may
does beg
get-
the question: does this?
Here's something I do know. Torin, I don't like to tell secrets that aren't mine, so but I know that there was family discord with Miranda and the rest of the Hearthhearts for reasons that have made no sense to me. None. Primarily for the relationship she has with Twilly, and it made no sense at the time, but if the Hearthhearts were who were guarding down here, there could be more to that, and you might need to talk to Miranda.
From what little I am able to tell, I don't think she knows. I think the people you need to speak to were the people who decided not to repair bridges in any way they could.
Hazel, do you know if any of your grandparents are still alive?
Miranda has never spoken about her family.
Nope.
I mean, she
I
didn't
mean,
even know
unless-
Melinda existed.
It was worth a shot asking.
I didn't even know Melinda was Melinda until we were there.
And you
It
ran
was
off.
worth a shot asking, and I'm an ale and a half in. Leave me alone.
And the only other thing that, you know, the only other family I've got, I want to hit with a hammer.
Torin looks over and... Oh. Oh dear. Yes, if you have need of speaking with them, and I almost hope you don't, but given how widespread this seems to be, you may please don't hit them with the hammer.
Yeah, I keep an eye on her hammer anymore. It's all right. I'll make sure it doesn't happen first.
This is why I defer to best paladin, so that I don't immediately whomp someone who doesn't immediately need whomping.
But the
Darvin,
option's
you were
still on the
saying
table.
something about
Oh,
depending.
the option's definitely still on the table. I've got a list.
Darvin, you were asking about locations, plural.
Mm-hmm. I'm just flagging up that means there's more than one of these places. And
There is, from my research, more than one of these places.
We know of at least two.
are there? Well, I mean, there's one. There's more of these places where the digging and whatnot is happening. The question I have as well is Star Coast. Was it brought to Star Coast from?
Considering it's a shipping town, it could have either
Well,
been brought there or
But
planted.
considering the Hearth Hearts were there,
You would have to go back. And, I mean, to be fair, you guys were in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't properly search the place.
No.
Clarity may have a suspicion that there is a wellspring there, because she's not 100% sure that the stuff in the puddle that reached for her was necessarily leakage from barrels. But she's not sure.
Okay.
well,
Well, either way, Star Coast needs to be dealt with, and then we can go and with.
well, wait.
What?
There was one other thing we were gonna tell Torin about. So we know that the Dragonborn, the Silvers, were involved from poor luck of being appointed guardians.
Without the proper
Preparation.
information
Yes.
passed on. Yes,
Yeah.
the only reason I know
But-
is because I've been studying it for the last 16 years.
But the thing that happened in Star Coast, it was the same woman, and sounds like a lot of the same material having been dug up. But what was interesting was she had leveraged the Baron, convinced whatever, I don't know how, but they had all of the nobles, but by blood, not by marriage, but only by blood. All of the blood nobles held essentially hostage in the manor. Why would he want the nobility? Or she?
Maybe she didn't. Keep in mind that this, as I say, I've been making a study of this, and there's places throughout the world where things like this have. The patterns suggest that things have been starting to spring up. This is indicative to me that it's coming to a head now, which is why I tell you. Because you seem more the proactive sorts. There's been evidence of cults building around gods I've never heard of, gods that make even Vecna sound reasonable.
Ugh.
But they believe that getting on the good side of this entity will. A lot of it's gibberish. I apologize. It's that something about the great becoming, as if they will effectively cast off their mortal forms and become part of this dreamer's entity. I don't.
Clarity, the circle, the rune circle at the Barrens. Do you remember what all it said that you could discern?
Yes.
Wasn't there some mention of endless dreamers?
There
or
was
something? And
there
like
was mentioning of waking the dreamers,
That's right.
eaters of the sun.
Eaters. That's what it was.
Yes, and
Thank you.
the boiling meme.
He actually pulls out a notebook of his own and starts jotting down notes.
Walk in the
I
sun,
don't-
the sun burns
I
on
don't
the
know
eyes.
how far into natural history any of you have gone, but the sun is a star. A lot of the rallying cry of these burgeoning cults has been, "We are all made of stars." Put that one together.
walk in the sun and the sun burns all evil. I walk in the sun and the sun burns all evil.
It eats suns. This is not saying that it's hopeless. This is saying that you need to be a lot less overconfident.
Trust me, I don't think that's a problem I necessarily have most days.
I'm scared out of my mind right now.
You
Does
know,
sorry.
you know more about what you're getting into than most.
Mm,
That actually works in your favor.
that's
On a
kinda why we're
lot
here.
of, and
Sorry.
he picks up a fork and sticks a forkful of sticky toffee pudding in Darwin's mouth. Eat that and shut up. Most of these are not a threat to anything yet, or they've been contained. Star Coast is the outwardly worst of it right now. That will give you an idea of how to fight it. The places around the world, there's a few. It's not everywhere. But there's little nodes of it in places that aren't necessarily a part of the main hustle and bustle. Star Coast is the most connected portion I've seen anything come out of, which suggests that things are on the move. Because I did not get a chance to speak to your friend, I will be staying an extra couple of nights. I have a map of the world. Wasn't cheap, but I'm sure I will find it easier to replace mine than you will yours. I'll mark down the places where these things are, where these things have started. He looks at the of the symbol of Palor around your neck. There's something to that, and points at Hazel's and that. And you're better protected than most. This feels like your story now. So we'll give you a little bit of help before we shunt you off to try and deal with it. But it does feel as though Star Coast is the place to start. But keep in mind, it might not be about the noble blood. That might have been to legitimize it. That might have been just that the Baron of that place was so far up himself about bloodlines that he can't even see.
Well,
Keep in
Nice.
mind that what I was trying to get to in a fairly roundabout way with a couple of interruptions was that when these cults spring up, the woman doesn't appear to be the central figure. She picks a puppet. She's a power behind a throne, sometimes
Right.
literally. She will use what her puppet wants most to get said puppet to try to give the people what they want, or taint them abominably, But be warned, looks at Hazel. One of these locations is in Elven territory. Just a warning.
Thanks.
I'll have the map for you in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Actually, to be fair, it probably won't take long. I'm likely not sleeping tonight.
I had a question, Hazel. Torin, I mean, rather than staying here, I mean, why not just have them visit directly?
I think what
I
he's
mean-
getting at is, do you think it would be possible to find room for him at your mother's for the night? Next couple of
Probably,
days.
yeah.
Better. I
Torin
mean,
would-
it's up to Torin, of course, but I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of exchange of information. I mean,
Torin, would you
This
like
is
to join
Mom
us?
and Mama, and
might get the chance to actually, meet the people from the ballad.
Torin, would you like to stay with us at the Hearth Hearts for a couple of nights?
Not without their explicit approval, and I'm not walking 5 miles to get it.
Of course not. Of
Fair
course not.
enough.
Okay.
It-
It was a thought.
It's appreciated. I think that it's unfortunate that none of this was known before people left. Okay. Hazel, Nora, and Clarity, make me an intelligence check.
That's intimidation. Oh, yeah, I gotta hit them. Mm,
Hazel?
1 second, just
Yeah, just wasn't sure.
there was I accidentally minimized the thing instead of
Ah.
properly sizing it up.
Nora and Hazel, it probably makes sense because for clarity, just can I pet him? Shrine full of dragons. Little
Ah.
baby dragons. As the dragon flies, you could theoretically get a message if you wanted to.
you know, we could use one of the dragons, from the shrine to send a message to Miranda and Twilly briefly and see if it'd be all right. But
Yeah,
only
what
if
was
you're
the-
still in
what
the
was
that
middle
blue
of the
one?
possibility.
There was the blue one that
Flitty,
Flit.
I think.
Flitty.
Was
Flitty.
Flitty?
Flit.
Flitty? Yeah.
I say we unleash the whole rainbow.
No.
I say we wait to see if Torin wants us to.
Exactly.
I think
Yeah, fair point.
at the end of the day that it will be a great deal for your friend to process.
Mm-hmm.
He might want to approach on his terms.
That's fair.
I have my doubts as to whether his terms will still apply if I'm sleeping in the same vicinity. I'm fairly large, I'm difficult to ignore.
Right. That's
Fair
a fair point.
I honestly hadn't
This way,
thought
if
of that.
if he has questions, if he wants to approach me alone, if he wants to approach me with you,
Understood. And good point. Very good point.
make sure that he gets that though.
Mhm.
I think
I will.
let him know it was found. I mean, there wasn't very much left because I obviously went fairly long after, but there were scraps of a discarded haversack, shredded. I think that whoever got him to his safe haven came very close to losing their lives to get him there. There are things he might want to ask the monastery, which might have interfered with his monastic calm.
I can definitely and will definitely get this to him, this necklace, or to him. But how much do you want me to tell him, and how much do you want to come from you?
I haven't given you every detail. Nothing that involves your current concerns, but There
I
is much that I held back that was personal.
Mhm.
Well, I
What
can tell him what you have told us, or I can tell him simply to come find you. I mean,
It might actually be better if if specifics came, well, if at least the general issue came from a more familiar, sympathetic face. Tell him what I've told you. Tell him that if and when he wants more details, he can ask me.
Um,
of course.
Torin, I, there's no real quick. Anyway, this the entire.
Darvin, think about what you want to say and then say
Well, I'm
it.
trying to figure out a way that's going to not be rude. But
Oh
either
no.
way, I understand. I know this clan of Silver Dragonborns was completely razed. There are others, though, correct? I'm assuming there are. There are other clans of Silver Dragonborn out there, right?
He's not looking at any of you. I have not heard of any. My interest in him was because it is likely, not for certain, but likely, that he is the last.
Oh, Christ.
And that might be better coming from you. I'm sorry.
That's why I asked.
Oh,
Because unfortunately, it's a logical conclusion. Thank you.
There might,
Dar-
someone else might have got away, but it's highly doubtful. That was, I did, part of the details I didn't mention to you is that I searched the ruins. I spent a month going through everything and points surrounding and trying to get any inkling. I had the impression that one made it out. Knowing that was enough. But now I'm confronted with the reality.
Yeah.
And he's going to want people he trusts. Maybe not to tell him, but to be there when he is told. And the main reason I'm not agreeing to stay is because you've lost. Would you have wanted the person to tell you that you were the last of your clan, family, kind,
Hmm.
and not be able to get away from them?
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be the one to tell him that. Not
Or
on the
I
same.
can.
It's not on the same level, but he may be the last Silver Dragonborn, and well, at this point, I'm pretty much the last Taylor. So it's not the same level. I know, but I mean,
Darvin,
what?
take a drink of your ale and stop talking.
It's because Torin doesn't know this, but you three do. His father's still fine.
Yeah, Darvin, take a drink of your ale and stop talking. Shh, shh.
Not the celebratory evening you were expecting. I apologize.
Well, but it was information we needed, and thank you for it.
Hmm.
And that doesn't
Tell me
mean there's
to
not
look
still,
more.
you know, what's the old saying? That knowledge is power. The more we know, the better prepared we're going to be.
Given
And there's
how
something to be said for that.
given how many pains have gone into, I mean, this sort of story, this sort of information shouldn't be as hard to find as it's been.
I was going to ask that. I understand why we haven't heard about what happened to the Silver Dragonborn clan, but why haven't we heard anything amiss going on in these other locations that are possibly affected?
Most of them are fairly out of the way,
Okay.
in all fairness. What more concerns me is, in most cases, stories like inherited guardians against an endless night would be something that bards would sing forever.
Mm-hmm.
So why haven't we heard any of that?
Something that should be told a lot. And a
No
lot
one
more
knows,
frequently.
not even the
Mhm.
people whose ancestors were set there to do it. In any case, there is one further thing, because there's a lot to take in and a lot to do. I had a word about Palor's Beacon.
Oh, thank you.
Thought I would spare you some time. You don't
Thank
seem
you.
to have very much of it. Palor's Beacon is a broadsword. It was made for... There's about 5 different legends giving 5 different paladins of Palor as the one for whom the blade was intended, and all that can be said with any degree of surety is that all 5 of those paladins have wielded it. They were all paladins of Palor. They were all
Oh.
female. There's one song that goes around the thieving communities about what happens to anyone who tries to make off with it if they're not.
Dare I ask?
Oh,
Let's just stick with the version that has them essentially turn to piles of ash.
It's
Oh,
probably the cleanest.
Darvin,
Literally.
if we find this thing, you don't get to touch it, right?
Yeah, it's a broadsword. I don't
Taylor.
like broadswords.
And there would be atomization, and there would be frying.
I've never had a problem with Baylor.
But you're not a paladin. More to the point, you're not a female paladin.
Exactly. I'm crazy, not stupid.
The theme that echoes through these tales: do not unsheath me without reason. Do not use me without valor.
Sounds about
All
right.
right.
There's challenges, apparently, to get
Wouldn't be a
anywhere
worthy sword
near it.
without it.
Yeah, there's always challenges.
It was locked away in part because there hasn't been a worthy wielder of this sword in a while. Funnily enough, female paladins of Palor are fairly rare, and
Yeah.
unsheathing a sword of the power that this sword was reputed to be, you'd have to have a very good reason to draw a sword like that. I think there finally is one.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
where was the sword last heard of? Do we know roughly where it was locked away?
This one is going to have to be confirmed by someone more familiar with the history of the things that Palor worshippers get up to. But it should be not too far from here. There's a main temple just at the foot of the of the mountains, Cragvere. It's not there. It's further in, but still north of here.
Okay.
They're not very good at naming in this part of the world. Only thing I've heard people do is use it as a landmark. They call it the chasm. That's about the last location that I can think of that it would be.
Oh boy.
Would I have heard about the chasm, GM? Can I roll a check of some sort to see if I would have?
You can roll a religion check.
Religion, okay.
Can I also roll one?
You can.
Oh, religion.
It's not burninate the evil and heal the good, so you have no fucking idea.
I do!
You kinda do. This is a really... This is... You would have had to crit to get any real detail.
I got close!
You got close, and that's why you get anything at all. This was harsh roll, okay? Really harsh roll. So, congratulations, well done. You got information. And no, you two cannot. This isn't the stuff that even goes to Bard. This is specific religious history.
Yeah,
We're not having like the time you critted on a religion check when these two. Anyway,
We didn't care. Let somebody else have the limelight.
The main reason that Nora has heard anything about this was because there were pilgrimages. It's very much on the north end of Baronsveer, just before you start getting into more Cragsveer monastery land. But it's the kind of place where the really serious devotees, the ones who are probably going to spend the rest of their lives in the main temple,
Okay.
go. And Nora was never entirely sure why, but she kind of really wanted to go because it sounded really exciting, and the bard raising in her was like, "What's there?"
And her dad is.
Well, no, it was not so much that, because this was when she was actually staying in the temple.
Okay. Got it.
But that unfortunately was the point at which she was told, why we need you to look after this one. And the thing with Hazel began. So that kind of scuppered that as she spent the next couple of months trying to figure out what she was in for.
This
But
little
she's-
chaotic night.
But she's heard of it, and she'd want something a bit more specific, probably.
Yes.
But
Okay.
yes, it's something that older clerics would know. It's
Okay.
not something that journeymen get much detail about, but it's
Okay.
clearly very important to Palor worshippers. That
Got
area.
it. I got at least 2 people I can have her ask. Got it. All right. Thank you. I actually have heard of the chasm. I don't know much about it myself. Not a lot, but I've heard of it. So thank you. It's
More than
Do you-
I
do
can
you know-
remember.
do you know
exactly why.
any more
Well, you're not a
specific than that, or was that all you were able to glean?
These are stories we tend not to be geography lessons and
Oh.
a set of directions tend not to be as exciting as someone actually wielding the thing.
True. I will absolutely grant that, but the last known place someone wielded it often ends up because of the heroism. It was worth asking.
The last place someone wielded it was actually in a southern country's uprising.
All right.
It said that a pact was drawn between the blade and a cleric of Paylor. This was 40 odd years ago. To let a cleric not wield it, not unsheath it, but bring it somewhere safe.
Thank you.
And it disappeared into legend after that.
Thank you. I,
Is there anything else?
What families? You mentioned there were 3 families that were missing people. Which ones?
Oh, great. You're going to make me make up names.
Well, they're just okay. No, don't worry
Yeah,
about
I
it right
can-
now.
I can-
And
no,
well,
I can point them out to you.
I will. You're right. They need to be told something. I'm not sure what, but
Looks at Darvin. Looks at the viol that he probably still has with him.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it's in my bag.
You don't know what.
Yet. I don't know what I'm going to say yet, but I'll come up with something.
This is the point at which I will permit you to make a performance roll if you just want to get the message out.
Okay.
Of course, obviously not in here. He'd have to
Well, yeah.
okay, make you actually role play that far. Okay, off you go.
All hail the bard.
go out in that main room and sing the song. But the one thing I ask you to remember is that it's not your fault.
I know. It just still stings.
Good. No, trust me, I understand. But you wouldn't let me take fault, and I won't let you do it either.
I do have one thing to say
Mm.
as you prepare to go out there.
Mhm.
You say that if it hadn't been for you, they wouldn't have been there. If they hadn't have been there, what would have happened?
And that was why I worried that you still felt responsible. It's not your fault. You didn't do that.
And you interfered with it.
Anything, you gave us more. You gave the world more time.
And we got Evan out.
So really, Darvin Taylor with a Y just saved the world.
For the moment. And
yeah,
now
I was about to
he
say.
and now
I at least stalled things for a bit, so hey, that's
and
something.
now
Thank
you
you.
need to stall 3 families from
Yeah.
walking into the nightmare after their loved ones.
Yeah.
Because you know that doesn't work.
Yeah, he says to the group that's about to walk right back in. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. The irony. Sorry.
Stop talking and go sing.
Yeah. I'm better with the
Stop
singing, less with
talking
the
and go
talking.
sing.
I'm better with the
Go.
singing, less with the talking.
Music, go.
And yeah, I'll do that.
You actually gonna like you critically hit. You critically succeed.
I have no idea what to even.
No, I'm not saying to make up the words. I'm saying to emote. Damn it!
I will go and I will I'm going to. Yeah, no, I'm going to grab the viol and the drum. It's small, but it's got some register to it, and I will go out. Let's see, where would be the best place to do this?
sing their pants off.
Is there actually like an area in the bar,
In
or
front
is
of
it,
Hazeltine,
No.
rub it in.
or hang on, or is it completely like, is it laid out like it is?
It's laid out
What?
like it is, yes.
Why don't you ask the barman where the best place is? He'll know. Go ask
Well,
Benson.
Um,
Do you want me to ask Benson?
Nora,
He
Do me
likes
a-
me better.
yeah, Nora, do me a favor, because I don't want to cheese off the barman any more than I already have. Uh, ask him where I can do a quick impromptu performance in here.
I can do that. So I'm going to get up and go to the bar and kind of post up again and wait for Benson to notice me.
Benson does actually notice you. He's looking for something a little less. Well, frankly, the bards are grumbling amongst themselves in the corner, partially because Heseltine is still sulking his ass off and apparently making life miserable for everybody. So he's like, "Please tell me how I can help you."
My friend the bard would actually like to sing a song if he might. Where would be a good place for him to stand and do that? Where it would carry the farthest and the best acoustics.
Well, looks over and makes sure that none of you guys are within earshot because he has a feeling that Nora hasn't been entirely forthright about her parentage.
Because my first on it is, yeah. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
Everybody's figuring this out, but the people in the party, and I'm loving it. Okay,
Well, he knows the family more or less. He's met
That's
the
true.
mother, and what he actually says as he leans in closer is, "Well, your mother always used to stand on that table right in the middle of the room."
Thank you. And so I'm going to go back to Darwin, and I have been told that the table in the middle of the room is actually very sturdy and a good place for a bard to stand to perform.
Oh, okay. That's great, and I'm a little disappointed
That one.
it wasn't Hazelton's table, but okay, that works too.
Hazeltine!
Hazelton, what? Do you ever... I'm having
So
a
it's-
Zootopia moment
it's-
over here. It's
it's people
Weaselton.
here.
It's Weaselton.
But actually, the best part is because you've got pillars sort of there. Heseltine's actually, if he actually wants to see you freaking well perform, he's gonna have to move. He probably doesn't want to move. This is passive aggressive bitchy at its finest.
So yeah, and I'm going. Does Torin come out?
Torin he's actually taken up by the stairs, and he also has a bag of holding. Among some types of people, they are more common than you'd think. And he pulls out his harp. And he
And I'm going to walk back over real quick and go order a mug of my parents' stuff, because, yeah.
Well,
taste of home.
because I was going to. I want to go sort of give him like an inquisitory look, among like with the idea of being like, are any of like. Do any of the families happen to be here? Type of look.
He gives a nod. He nods to a serious looking sort of older couple
Mm-hmm.
here.
Okay.
The woman looks worried, the man looks determined.
Mm-hmm.
There's a family of like 6 over here,
Mm-hmm.
where about 3 kids who are somewhere smack in the middle of their teens are apparently counting out coins and bits of supplies while clearly their parents are going, "Really sure about this?"
Mm-hmm.
And there's one person at this table who Torin just sort of nods at. It's a woman. She doesn't have anyone talking her out of anything, but she looks pretty thoughtful, and there's a bag at her ankle.
Then, as I step up onto the table, I'm going to nod to the 3 of them, because I'm assuming it's already known in town that, we were at Star Coast by this point, probably.
Who would have said that?
No? Okay.
People just know you came from the Hearthhearts.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
we
My
haven't
bad.
told anybody except the Hearthhearts and Torin what we've been up to.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm better with the singing, not so much with the words, so I'm just going to get right to it. And I'm going to start in on going to, let's see, how far back do I want to start? Going to Star Coast. I'm going to skip the Vine Blights. I'll start with going to the Star Coast and seeing Francine, and I'm going to kind of skip over the fire. Basically, just cover the high points of things are strange and not good and not right, and and as things went on, we got more involved, and leading up to meeting Mira and Petunia, and then that night, and getting captured, getting put in the cell, and then Froseth and the raising of the Undercity, and then I'll go through the whole the getting into the castle, going through the guards, seeing the
So it's
guards.
basically an epic here.
Yeah, basically covering. I'm
The
not going to leave a whole
important
hell of a lot out
bits.
at this point.
As the thing is that as you're doing this, Torin has joined in, and in between your verses where it seems appropriate, blending his voice in with yours, he's actually adding a little more of the arcane context. Things that he's probably gleaned from his various bits of study that, he's already mentioned to you guys, but that add a certain flavor of danger impending, danger ancient.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to go for is,
And he props you up with because Darvin's very nuts and bolts. This is what I've seen. This is what happened, and this is where he shines because he experienced it.
Right.
Torin's got the more academic
And can tell the story.
Well, and the description and yeah.
and the arcane nuance. Essentially, Clarity at this point is going, I wonder if I can get a copy of his notes.
Yeah, like basically, yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. Well, it's like
So
all this
while-
stuff that, yeah.
So while Darvin is giving the personal bits, he's giving the more foundation of it as a story. But the one thing that he also flags up as Darvin gets to the end of his tale is because he mentioned that there were survivors. They mentioned that the piecemeal that Francine was done. He knows that if most people from up country want to stay someplace, it would probably be there.
Yep.
So as Darvin is giving this explanation of what happened, why you don't go there, which could do one of two things. That could send people into a panic to try to go down there anyway, going, he's a bard, he's exaggerating. Torin has propped him up with both, we're not exaggerating, and there is hope.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then finishes it off with a quick verse about each of you. Explaining where the hope actually lies, that there is someone going back for them.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going.
Someone brave,
Mm-hmm.
someone bright and driven and would stop at nothing, even if she probably should, to heal people. You know, the quick, the witty, the knowledgeable, the one who might actually be able to translate the darkness into something they can defeat. And the one who tells the tale, who warns so that no one else loses loved ones. And because you can feel him basically wanting to touch on Froseth, but he stops.
And
Just to put it into context for you, Ethan, you critted, so did he.
perfect. I was wondering how you got that was exactly where I was going. Everything that you just said was exactly where I was heading. That's what I was trying to get in player speak out.
Fairness, I know I'm better at words than you.
Oh yeah.
But because of this, I mean, this is basically tears from everybody, particularly those who lived it. Because what Torin is adding to what Darwin is already... First of all, it's pretty clear by this point that Darwin is getting past the self-blame. He's... Just the act of singing it actually flags up that, with what Torin's adding to the background, he's going, by the gods, what would have happened if we hadn't been there? What would have happened if they just thrown a bag of money at my head on my way out? What would have happened then? It's just like it finally clicked that what Froseth did was the right thing, that it wouldn't have saved anybody if he'd moved that thing. Now he's starting to see that it's not them running afoul of him. This is the kind of serendipity that kind of makes you realize why people believe in gods in the first place.
Yep.
And of course, you have a whole bunch of bards. And they only join in on the tune. They're not touching the lyrics, but they add the right notes in the right places. They pull the dark and ominous when it needs to be. Heavy crescendo during the battle scenes, and just that cheerful little lilt as the hope is flagged up. It becomes, I guess, cheerful is the wrong word for it. It's more, rallying call. Don't give up. And you can see the woman sitting, at the table nearest the bar. Looks over, and she's in tears. She gives a nod of thanks. Steps up. This is while he's finishing up, because she clearly doesn't want to actually address him. Puts a gold coin on the table by his foot. And then takes her bag and walks out. The bunch of teenagers who have been having their parents try to talk them out of it, they're sobbing too, but the mother is sort of herding them out in the direction of home. The father stops, rummages in a pocket, pulls out a bag of indeterminate, but it sounds like money. Sets it on the table, walks out. The couple at the table over there do the same. And there's applause from the rest.
Mhm.
They look worried, but that's not the kind of thing you cannot applaud. And to be fair, as you check the money, it's 50 silver from the couple here,
Mhm.
3 gold from the big family. They were worried they were going to lose their entire family at a swoop. It's pretty
Mhm.
obvious. But as he's going to put his money away, he finds the squidgy bears.
Finally finds the squidgy bears.
I look really,
Finally finds them.
I just look really confused at the bag and then proceed to burst out laughing.
And
then
unless there
pocket
was
them again.
anything else that you guys wanted to do, I think we can arrange for a relatively uneventful walk back.
Yep, and then I'll walk back home. Yeah. I mean, we're Nora, we're coming back.
Keep in
right?
mind that Torin
Yes.
has said he's staying.
Yeah.
You needed to go back and see Lyra anyway,
Right.
because Clarity will still need to look for something, but there's
And
got
for-
to
well,
be
yeah.
someone
Well,
in
and-
town
Yeah.
that.
Well, we have something for us, Seth, now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yes, we are coming back tomorrow. That's there's still some things to be done.
Yeah. Okay. I just
Stuff
wanted to
pick
make
up,
sure.
that sort of deal.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure because there was
And
still
it
things that
might
need to be done.
be worth checking in on your armor. You know, because you never know. I mean, Jenna started working on that basically right away, so you never know.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, she only stopped to speak to me with the sword and to go for
And the pie eating contest,
She won
And the pie
handily.
eating contest. Don't forget that
which
she won that.
yes, that's and you know more than likely that stood her as dinner. It was just okay. I've eaten. I have money. Back I go.
And I did not mean that pun, by the way.
Yeah, no. I'm not even going there. Anyway,
Is the College of Lore leaving after this?
no, I mean they're staying in the
Okay.
tavern. There's rooms upstairs.
I see.
But how long they're actually going to be staying? I mean, probably at least overnight. But given that's the end of the Market Faire, the only thing you know for sure is that Torin is extending his stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought that Nora did. Well, I guess could I should have asked earlier. I neglected to find out if there was anything else that the College of Lore, quote unquote, needed from me.
You said my name twice now. What do I have to do with this? I'm so confused.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. No.
Okay.
Torin will be able to tell you basically. Word will reach you if there's other bards of the College of Lore in the area. You will be expected, if you hear about major market fairs, or if you happen to be stopping by a library, or check the taverns if you're in larger cities, because let's face it, one of these days you're going to be heading to one of the major ports. You will be expected to find your brethren. We're usually not that hard to spot. And you'll be expected to ask and answer questions and share knowledge, and particularly with libraries. While they dislike the fact that we tend to be a bit boisterous, they do love us for the information that we tend to leave in our wake. And it looks over at Clarity, gives a little toothy Dragonborn smile. I don't think that your friend will mind hanging around in libraries over much. Particularly not the type that'll open its doors to you.
Yeah, that was the only other thing I needed. So
Yes, your responsibility is that you're not just singing for entertainment anymore. Things like you just did out there, you will now be expected to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you can.
Yep.
No matter how personal it is.
Yep.
Right.
Where as far as the Market Faire closing, is the jeweler still going to be still here when I get back? Because I need a thing.
Torin looks at you. And Clarity will know, and actually, no, none of the rest of you actually notice this, but Clarity will know that he's clearly thinking back to their first conversation. You're quite close with the Hearthheart matriarchs. One of them, I think, follows your profession to a degree. She might have something that would fit more than just some idle trinket.
All right.
What he's not saying is, this is the family that accepted you. This'll probably mean more.
Yeah. Thank you. And
I mean, insight from any of the rest of you, if you think you want to determine.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try.
You know what? Yeah.
'Cause why not?
Mind
Not my worst
you,
roll.
this is also going to be a +2. So that's
I was
16
gonna laugh
total.
if you crit it again. I was gonna laugh.
Yeah, right.
To be fair, it makes sense that Darvin might have some kind of sense of what. He knows that Clarity wandered off. And he knows that she wandered off upset, but she came back okay enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's entirely possible that this guy was, helpful. And is trying to be really discreet about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't want to go into things that are personal to Clarity.
Yep.
The man's got manners.
And I didn't make a big deal out of it then, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it now. It caught my eye.
Yep.
I just say to Torin, thank you, Torin, for a great many things.
Agreed.
All right. Just to say, I'm fairly sure you'll have noticed they do have an artist in town. He's got some interesting techniques which allow him to copy documents quite quickly.
Oh, Clarity, your books.
Oh,
No, I am not going to copy rental books. I considered it myself, but if I wouldn't do it for me, I won't do it for her. What I was going to offer were my notes.
Oh, I would love those.
You may need them.
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
We can use that kind of service for more than just petty books. And for the first time, somebody's looking kind of unimpressed at you.
I've had a good run tonight. I'm a few too many ales in. I'm just that.
I'll see what can be arranged. If it starts looking like it might come a bit costlier than I'd like, I may ask for a contribution. But
Of course.
if it's not
Oh.
too bad, don't worry about it.
I'd been under the assumption we would pay for it anyway.
Yeah, same.
Well, it depends on who talks to the man first. If nothing else, you can have me approach him and find out what the prices are. It taps the locket. You're bound to want something in that.
He's talking to you, Ethan.
Ethan.
He knows. He knows.
I know.
I can see his face. He knows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Basically,
Couldn't tell today.
the expression on my face was the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were just really still. I wasn't sure if you
froze for a
froze.
second there.
Yeah.
Yes, you will have to excuse me. I have also had a few, given the study I've had for the last 16 years, and to find the last silver, it's a little much. So yes, of course I'm going to help. That's a large chunk of my civilization. The hope that any of it might come back is worth more than I can say. In any case, I will leave you all to it. I'm going to go and see what of my notes would be copy-worthy. Good night to you all.
Good
Gives
night.
you a bow
Mhm.
and
Yep.
heads upstairs.
Yep. And at that, I don't have anything else. Does it do? Nora, Clarity, Hazel?
I need to make sure my tab's settled because I had a few.
Well,
And I know that Torrin paid for quite a bit, but I was
no,
thinking about
Tor-
that.
what Torrin paid for was your drinks, and to be fair, it covered most of the food, but
Yeah.
Darvin managed to order the most expensive item on the menu at 15 silver. So he's gonna, I mean, he has money now. He actually has money of his own now.
So he's got a tab to settle.
Yep. And I
So
will.
he's got 15 silver to pay, but beyond that, you're settled
And
tab-wise.
I'm gonna.
In fact, Benson holds up a hand, reaches under the bar, and hands Nora it's sort of a wineskin kind of a thing. It's filled with your parents' ale.
Thank you.
Thought you're having serious conversations with big foreign bards. It looks kind of serious. Thought taste of home.
That is exactly what I was needing. Thank you.
And that's covered on Sir Dragonborn's gold. He still has to pay for his dinner.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Benson.
And he does in fact, even though he knows the squidgy bears are there, he does actually pull out the bag and reaches in it up.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Oh, okay,
And
here
he
we go.
actually laughs. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the one thing we're on the map for. We are the only town in Baronsphere, probably anywhere, that does those things.
Yeah, Evan kind of.
Glory to it, we know.
Anyway, I'm gonna. How many silver? I know I owed him 15. How many did I get?
Well, you got a total of 4 gold and 50 silver.
Okay, then I'm gonna give him 20, and I'm going to again apologize for my behavior earlier in the evening.
You'll learn.
Eventually,
Eventually.
with hope.
So, and just leave it at that.
Well, and he takes the money and he goes, well, we'll put it towards the next time you've got to be in here having big serious conversations.
Thank you.
If you're still around in 2 days, we've got the big rest day roast.
I'm not sure if we will be or not. I don't know quite where our,
Well, to be fair,
our plans are taking us. But
2 days was what you were given for just to get your armor done.
okay, true. Chances are good that we will be around, and rest day roast sounds amazing.
We
have to
got Goose from the Half Hearts, so
Oh,
Yeah.
Benson, I might
Oh.
park myself by your fireplace and never leave.
and then he looks at the table, looks at Darvin. Given what I just heard, you better not.
You're not wrong. Unfortunately, you're not wrong.
Oh, either way, I hope to see you again.
I think that is definitely a given. We will be here. We will be back. Thank you so much for tonight and your hospitality and the food and the alcohol and all of it. Thank you.
That's what we're here for. Safe travel back, yeah?
Yeah. Don't worry. We're good.
They'll be fine.
And surprisingly enough, you do actually have a fairly safe journey home, which
Ooh.
does actually beg the question, particularly for Darwin and Clarity, who've heard Jenna's diatribe about this. This quiet country road where the most they've heard was an owl. This is the countryside that they say they have to keep jacking up the taxes to kill off all the beasties.
Before we left the tavern,
Hmm?
I was going to go approach Heseltine.
He sort of looks up at you, gives a bow.
Good evening. I am aware that the Hearts may have had a conversation with you, and I am not in the custom of having my friends' mothers take care of my awkward conversations. So, I would just like to say that I am flattered by your obvious flirting. But, one, my hair is dark blue, not black. And two,
I wondered if you'd catch that.
I do think that you are barking up the wrong tree. I'm sure there are plenty of wonderful women out there for you, and I do hope that you buck up a little and have a better evening of it. But I like women, and I don't want to have any misconceptions about that. Thank you.
Zook, the gnome, actually raises a tankard and says, "If you mean the halflings, they haven't gone anywhere near him. Nobody had this awkward conversation with him. Promise. What actually happened was, we went to visit the cleric of Paylord, and Heseltine is just burying his head in his hands. He's sulking because even if he wasn't barking up the wrong tree, he'd be giving you a dose of something really nasty.
Oh.
And his blood is indigo color and wants to shrink under the table.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's awesome.
So, thank you, by the way, because we wanted to see him down like 3 or 4 pegs forever, and that because the entire tavern's looking now.
So I'm assuming we heard everything, and I have permission to die in character. Because if so, I'm kind of slumped over on the bar, just laughing. Oh god.
Hazel.
And Zook just sort of pats her on the elbow. Thank you very much, but you probably want to leave him to gather what remains of his dignity.
Yeah,
Well, I'd
Hazel
hope to make
Dora
it better, but...
giggling maniacally.
I'm just like there.
Well, no, I mean, come on, you've got Nora, who is not troubling herself to stable it at all. Nora is having to cling to the bar, laugh, because she's going to fall over.
No,
if she
well,
doesn't.
yes. However, my hands are clamped over my mouth. Tears just flowing like a waterfall. Like freaking Froseth could like make himself one with my eyeballs at this point. I'm gonna
Oh my god, you're going to kill me one of these days, I swear to god.
Anyone would address this before we wrap up for the night.
Woo.
That was good.
Oh,
That
that
was
was
good.
great.
So,
But yes, it
as we're
that actually has Clarity leaving the tavern to applause the bards and spreading.
Yeah, and I'm drunk enough that I'm loose enough that I I lean into Clarity and wrap my arms around her shoulder. I'm just still dying laughing. Oh God, I'm dying.
Hazel's latched onto both of y'all.
Clarity, that was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, and assuming at some point in the 5-mile walk back, we managed to catch our breath, and I'm actually I should I don't even know if I would need to roll a check for that or not. But you know what? I'm just I'm gonna.
No, for seeing a whole lot of nothing, you don't actually have to roll.
And I'm just gonna Clarity. So, you remember those guards? I'm like, so this is what they're taxing them for.
Yeah, it's insanity. I mean, they act like there's so much.
There's actually a deer who's enough not scared of humans to sort of edge quietly through one of the hedgerows.
There's nothing to protect them from.
Hey.
Hey, look.
Fancy pants, rich boy. Deer don't normally get this close.
Well, I
They're
mean,
not afraid of humans. That
I was
means
about to
there's
say
nobody.
That's a not moose and a not cow.
It's a deer,
I know
and
what
they
it
don't
is.
normally get this close to people.
That means there's nobody going out there. You know what?
And now you hear the deer going spoing, 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 spoing because this one's
Hazel,
shouting.
Hazel. We'll deal with it when we're done dealing with the stuff.
We're gonna have. You know what? I say we go out there at sometime soon, and we go check out what the hell they're hiking all these taxes for. Because it's clearly not beasties, and even if there are, we can go splat them personally.
Shh.
Chill.
I'm not disagreeing, but priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Priorities, yes, priorities. Still, put that on the list, please.
It is.
It's on the list.
It is.
It's
It is,
there.
says the
And
drinking keeper of the list.
now, further home. Yes, now,
Yes.
grabs
Keeping
both
a steadying
Clarity's
shoulder
hand and Nora's hand and starts leading.
Yeah,
Not so
keeping a steadying
fast.
hand on Nora's elbow.
Hazel's scaring the wildlife for. The main reason that you realize that there can't be guards tromping around is because there's that much wildlife to scare. But yes, beyond that, you will eventually sort of
Stagger home.
collapse into your various beds. The one thing that Hazel will note as she's going to the main house is that Miranda is actually up. I mean, you guys are straight to the outbuilding, so. But Miranda's already up. Well, still up. Smiles at Hazel and says, "Don't worry, I'm going right to bed after this. I'm just doing a tally of. Did you have a good time?
Mostly.
Well,
The talk got real serious at the end there, but it was good.
We can talk about that tomorrow. But everyone's all right. First, I had a wonderful time with the little ones. By the way, he was something about trying to attune himself to the air by helping Zana and Mela and Lissy climb trees.
That's amazing.
Anyway, I know you're going to be the last up anyway, but go and get some sleep.
Okay. Hugs?
And Miranda hugs her. But shush when you go in. Everyone's sleeping, including your mother. And she goes back to. This is a familiar scene for Hazel. This is doing the ledger. They didn't do badly from what little Hazel can tell, but while this is clearly not the time to raise it without talking to the rest of them, she's If she's up, the later she's up, the more concerned she is. And you guys have been out for a while.
Noted.
Well, to be fair, Hazel's the only one who knows. But before she
Yeah.
goes to bed,
Out of character. Noted.
She does also get. Hazel.
Eh?
Holds out a plate that contains a single cookie. Hazelnut butter chip.
Your best. Your best ever.
gives her another hug, and tell your friends when they wake you up in the morning that we finished the laundry and it will be it's out in our linen cupboard.
You got it, Mama.
Off to bed with you, and goes back to her books. And that is where we will leave it for the next 2 weeks. Now, do you see why I was so bummed when Antheus told me he couldn't?
Oh my God, yes.